What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode number 64 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. This is the Creator Series. Today I woke up to a hip-hop artist from San Francisco, California. His name is NicoDee. I think I discovered his work probably around January, and we began talking. I've been sending him beats here and there, but this year Nico dropped I think it was his first full album called Mixed Personalities, and today we discussed that album and really kind of his creation process behind it, how he wanted to incorporate many different sides of his sound, essentially, and his personality and everything, no pun intended. He also talked about working with Quake Beats and several other collaborators that he's kind of built a sound with over the last few years, and I found it very interesting to find out that he had only been doing music for around 3 years now. And I remember hearing his Endless Summer EP that came out in 2019, and I remember thinking of how very well thought out and well detailed the sound was and how unique it was. So I think that's like a testament to just show how talented he is and the kind of the ear that he has for this. And I really think he's going to be in it for a long time. I really enjoyed this episode. I enjoy Nico's very laid back and carefree personality, and I hope you guys enjoy it as well. So without further ado, let's get into the episode. Welcome everyone to episode number 64 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. This is the Creators Series. Today I welcome a very talented hip-hop rapper out of San Francisco, California. Been following this guy's work for the past several months. He just dropped an album back in May, I believe, called Mixed Personalities. NicoDee is here. How are you, man?
How you doing, man? Thank you for having me, man. I really appreciate being on your show. This is awesome. I love that technology allows us to do things like this.
Yeah, man.
So that's always awesome. It's always a blessing and always a pleasure.
Yes, and like I said before we even started recording, I appreciate you just taking the time out of your day, to be able to come here and kind of share a little bit of your story. So basically, to start off every episode, we have the guests kind of give a little bit of background as far as, how you got into music, how long you've been doing it, where your name came from, all that basic information for those that might not be familiar with you and your sound.
Yeah, no, not a problem. So, my name is Nico. I'm from the Bay Area, California. Growing up, I've always been in and out of San Francisco, the city, out to Daly Cities, where I currently live, and just all around here, this whole area. For those who don't know, the Bay Area is very, very condensed. So it's really easy to travel from city to city, and you're really close to everything. For me, I started making music about 3 years ago now. And honest to God, I got into it as a joke. One of my cousins who actually produces a lot of my music, Color Code, shout out to him. He was living at my house while going to San Jose State and finishing up his music degree. And he was just making beats and we shared a room. We're in the same room living together. He was playing one beat and I thought it was super sick, and I was like, yo, let me hop on that. And then I started laughing, and he was like, honestly, if you want to do it, go ahead and do it, be my guest. And I ended up writing to it, and that happened to be the first song I released, which is Bagels, featuring Stunnaman 02. So that's kind of crazy that all kind of got me into this 3 years ago. And ever since, I've just been making music. I've fell in love with it. Music has always been a big part of my life. Growing up, I always played a lot of sports. I played football, basketball, baseball. So all year around, I was always, listening to music pregame, traveling. Like I was telling you earlier, I used to play AAU, so we would, hop on flights and go state to state. And music has, always been a part of that for me. And then I didn't realize that until I stopped playing college football. And that was when I was like, yeah, like music has always been a part of my life. Like, let's kind of go into it a little bit deeper than surface value, of just listening to it. And then, one thing led to another, and here I am.
See, that's crazy that you only been in it 3 years, because I honestly would have guessed just from hearing like Endless Summer and the songs from a few years ago that you had been doing it for a while. So that's kind of shocking to me to hear, honestly.
Oh, no, yeah, that Endless Summer EP was the first project. Actually, no, that's a lie. I had an album before that that I did by myself. That was the first project I ever did by myself. But Endless Summer was when I was like, okay, like I kind of have things a little bit figured out. And that was, I want to say, maybe a year and a half now, or a year in to making music, was when I dropped that EP and those songs. And one of those songs on there is probably my most listened to song, which is Havana. It seems to be a crowd favorite, and people love that song. It has great energy.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's crazy. That's a year in of making music. Now that I'm first thinking about this, like for the first time ever, and you brought it up to me, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, man, that's really impressive because I know, like, even for like me, for example, I remember the whole like first couple years I was making music, I really wasn't making anything good. It was just bad. Like I was just having to make shit every day to even get a few good songs out of it. So like, it's very impressive that you could jump in that quick and make shit that was really good. Because to me, I would have never guessed that you just were kind of messing around with stuff. I honestly thought like that was all very well crafted out and just very well done. Like I was very impressed, honestly. So great work, man. So you
Thank you, man. I
mentioned,
appreciate that.
yeah, man. So you mentioned obviously, like you said, San Francisco is pretty tight knit compared to some of the other spots in California. So I'm curious to know, like, as an indie artist or as like a newer artist, what exactly does the landscape look like for someone like yourself out there just trying to like gain a name? Is there anything that's kind of different from other cities that you know of or areas that you know of as far as like artists go? Or
so yeah, in the Bay Area, there's actually a lot of musicians, like a lot of good musicians. And it's not just rappers, it's not just singers. There's producers, there's people who play instruments. There's a lot going on here that you wouldn't know unless you were a part of it.
mm-hmm.
For example, like I just mentioned earlier, my song Havana with Stuntman 02. Shout out to my guy, but he's going crazy out here, blowing up. Him and my other homie, my engineer, producer, good friend, Quake Beats. Both of them they just dropped a song earlier this year, I believe, and it's just gaining attention and traction now, which is awesome. But like, they're going on tour, throughout California, and just kind of they have this whole TikTok dance going, and they're what was it last week or 2 weeks ago they were doing a promo video for this dance with E40, who's a Bay Area legend here. They were just hanging out with Pilo, who's another Bay Area legend in music. And then a week before that, I believe, Quake Beats actually just dropped a single with Da Boy from SOB, which is a rap group here from Vallejo, just across the bridge from us. So it's kind of cool, the culture that it has here. I feel like the culture of music here is much different than anywhere else, even anywhere else in California, to be honest with you. For example, I was just out in LA making music the past 2 weekends, and the music that they listen to out there at clubs and bars, and like even the music that they make is just way different than it is up here. Everything up here is high energy, turn up, party, have a good time type of music. But mind you, you do have people like Kehlani that's from here, who they do more of the singing side of things, R&B side of things. But like I said, there's just so much talent out here. It's ridiculous. You even have like big time names like Jeezy, that's from out here as well. So it's kind of crazy, but it doesn't seem to be a hub for music for most people. Like unless you were from here, unless you know about Bay Area music, you kind of wouldn't understand how people dance out here, or how people are rapping and stuff, because it is different. Like I said, it's its own culture. And I'm just glad to be able to be a part of that.
Now, you just gave a shout out to a couple of your collaborators. Is there anyone else maybe in the area that you want to kind of shed some light on here, just so we know about them?
Oh yeah, of course. So again, like I said, Stuntman 02. He's been in every project of mine pretty much, except every project of mine he's been on it. Quake Beats, again, he's a producer, rapper, engineer. He does it all, really. He shoots all my music videos as well, and edits them. So Quake Beats is another guy. Shout out to him. Again, shout out to my cousin Color Code, aka Eric. Again, he's got me into this stuff, and between him and Quake Beats, they've been keeping me on the straight line and making sure that I keep making music, because there was a point in time where I was going to quit making music. I just felt like I wasn't getting love, and I kept going, and things started going well, so that's good. A couple other artists that I do work with constantly, D Cola, who's a young kid from here too, and Love Tolly, which is another kid that I always work with. What's funny is me Sentimental to Love Tolly and D Cole all went to the same high school. Um, all different years. Sentimental to or Jordan, he's the oldest out of all of us. He's 2 years older than me, I believe, and then Love Tolly's 2 years younger than me, and then D Cole I think is 2 years younger than him. So it's kind of crazy how that worked out. Um, but yeah, those are some of the artists that I constantly work with. A couple other talented guys here. DJ Say Hey, or Von P. He got a lot of names. Javon, he's another one. He's another homie that went to the same high school, went to Sacred Heart Cathedral in San Francisco, and he raps, he produces, he DJs, he engineers. He does it all. But yeah, like I said, man, there's a lot of people from out here that are very, very talented, and it's just kind of getting the exposure and getting your music out there and your sound out there is obviously the hardest part. But we have, like, again, we have our own sound, our own culture out here. Even like my music to, let's say, Sentimental Two's music, his music is very high energy and very party like. And for me, even growing up the same place, kind of being around the same people and going to the same high school, our sounds are much different. I like to do a little bit of everything. I like to rap, party turn up. I like to sing stuff. I like to use auto-tune to my advantage, not necessarily to, just sound better, but also just to have a little more depth in my voice. It's fun. I prefer my music to not all sound the same, because I personally, and again, this is subjective, but I personally get bored when someone drops an album and every single song sounds like the same exact song, the same flow, the same tone, the same voice. It gets, to me, it's boring. And again, sorry to anyone, I don't want to offend anybody, but to me, it's boring, and I rather have the ups and downs and the roller coasters. And I like that people who follow me and listen to me, I like that every time I release something, they don't know what to expect until they turn on that song. And once they hear it, then they're like, oh, okay, like he's doing this, or like, they could be surprised and be like, oh shit, like he's singing now, or like, oh, he's doing this. And and it's crazy to talk about that because I do have some things in the works right now that I'm super excited for. I believe one of them will be a single that'll be my song featuring this other talented artist, Persia, that I actually just met the other day. We accidentally ran into each other at a homie studio, and she liked the song that I was working on, and she just decided to hop on it, which is cool. And then another song I did with one of the homies. I just met him. It's this artist from Portland, Oregon, that we met in LA, just a mutual friend. We were staying at the same place, and we ended up making a song together too. His name is Avaha. But yeah, man, it's just super cool. I'm in a great space with great people, great artists, great minds. And I think that that's, kind of helping me throughout this process. And everyone's learning, obviously. We're all, like you said, indie artists or, coming up artists. So it's hard to get your name out there, your sound out there. But once you do, I feel like all of us, if not every one of us, has an opportunity to, go mainstream and be able to project our sound, wherever we want to, really. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I love what you said about keeping it interesting, right? Like mixing up the sounds and everything. It's funny, I just had a conversation with my friend Emmett a few weeks ago, and he makes a lot of like what you would describe as like boom bap hip hop. Like he's most known for that. But he is working on like a pop album right now, or like something lighter, because he's like, I could do those boom bap records all day, but I want to challenge myself. Like I don't like to just be in the box the whole time. I like to challenge myself and kind of go a different route, even if it's not what people want. He's like, it's what I want. It's what's going to keep me creatively fresh. So I feel like you just kind of echoed that sentiment. It's like you want to try different things and just see what works and kind of have fun with it. You know what I mean? It's good to kind of get out of your comfort zone. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Again, like I always tell people when I work with them, especially if they're new to me and we haven't worked together before, is I always tell them, all I want is I want this to be fun. If this isn't fun for you, or if you're not having fun doing this, then we're going to cut it and drop it right now and just move on. Because if you're not having fun, the record's not going to come out great. Or like if you're not enjoying what you're doing, it's gonna sound like you don't care, or like you're not having fun. So with me, I make that a point right at the beginning before we even start working. And most of the time, obviously, people are straight up about it, and they're like, no, like, this is fun. Like, I don't mind this at all. And then we just move on from there.
Yeah. It's always good to keep it not keep it light and keep it natural. You know what I mean? Like not try to force anything, especially creatively. So I know you mentioned that Quake makes a lot of your videos, or kind of helps you with the videos and everything. I'm interested to know, how do you approach the creative direction for the videos? Like, do you already have an idea in mind, or does he kind of guide you through the process? Because I know, like, just seeing your visuals, they're very well done. They're very well put together. I love, like, the aesthetics in them and everything. So how does that process go for you?
Um, it really all depends. Like, there's been videos that I've had a vision for, and I'll bounce it off of him. But a lot of the times, it's just us kind of bouncing ideas off each other back and forth. And then usually what it is I'll kind of give out some ideas and be like, okay, this is like the rough draft of what I want. And then Quake will come in and be like, okay, this will work. This, maybe let's try this. And then he kind of fills in the gaps that I don't fill out. So it's definitely, a cooperative thing. And Quake does help me a lot. And with the editing process, he does all of the editing, all of the picture correction, the colors and everything. He just does a great job. He has great equipment. He has, tube lights and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, we just kind of put our ideas together. We make sure it makes sense. And then on shoot day, we just execute and have fun doing it. Because there's nothing worse than to go to a music video and not know what you want or what you're recording, and it's very, very stressful. It's hella stressful, just like be like, oh, I think we can go here, let's try this, and then something might not work out, and you're like, okay, well, let's go over here. And then you have your whole team of people that are traveling with you, and you want to make them travel as least as possible. Also at my music videos, I make it a point to start drinking at some point in time. So like if you want a shot or 2 or 5, go for it. If you want to, light up a blunt, go for it. Again, I just tell everyone, I just want this to be fun. If you're not having fun, by all means, there's no offense, you can leave, but we're going to have fun regardless. So yeah, that's kind of the video process for it. I don't know if you saw my most recent, the My Everything video. Again, produced by Color Code and featuring D. Cola and Love Tolly. But that video, I just kind of had this vision of like a love story. And I brought it to Quake, and Quake was just like, oh yeah, we can make this happen. We can make this work. We picked a couple of locations throughout the city. And then, we kind of made it happen. That's another thing that I like to do in all my videos, is show just a little bit of San Francisco, where I'm from, and that way people can know regardless of what the sound is, because I don't think I sound like a typical Bay Area rapper or singer. I think that I have a unique sound, and I think that's what's kind of helping me out. But yeah, I just try to, put little Easter eggs in there so people know where I'm from, or where it's coming from. And in that way, it's a little bit easier for them to hear our culture of music and kind of decipher it for themselves, which is pretty cool.
So I'm curious to know, how long does it usually take for the average music video for you guys to knock it out? Do you have to do it in a couple different days? Like, do you have to come back and shoot different parts, or have you got videos done in one day before?
So up to this point, every video that I've done has always been in one day. And for the most part, honestly, for the most of them, we were able to film them in like 3 to 4 hours.
That's pretty good, honestly.
And that's kind of, yeah, it's super good. Like I said, Quake does amazing work. But yeah, so he handles the lights, the camera. He handles, all that stuff. Him and his brother, his business partner, Vic. They kind of handle that side. And on my end, I handle locations. I handle what people are wearing. I handle, who's coming and what people we have for the video, any extras, any models. Again, alcohol, like I'll bring bottles to all the videos. But, like that's kind of my side of it is that part. And they just focus on all the details in terms of how we need to shoot, what we need to shoot, color, color choices with the lights and which ones look best together. And Quake and Vic do a great job of kind of making sure the colors work, especially with our outfits or with our excuse me, with our venue, all that kind of good stuff. So thankfully for all my videos, I've been able to have a venue and have a space to record in. A lot of it, honestly, is just networking and reaching out to people. For example, again, the My Everything video, that was done all throughout San Francisco, as well as at this place called Umbrella Alley, which is an alleyway of murals and artwork and all that kind of good stuff. I just, happened to walk over there one day and reach out to the owner. And now the owner and I are on good terms. And, if I ever need anything, he's always willing to help me out, which is really nice. I really appreciate that. So if you're ever in San Francisco, go to Umbrella Alley SF. It's meant for you to take pictures there and post it on your stories and your Instagrams and Snapchats. It also has, all their tags and stuff like that. They don't charge you for entry, which is cool. They just, have on the walls their Venmo if you want to donate to the cause. And, all their donations go towards paying artists to put more stuff up. They don't actually keep any of the money, which is awesome. Another great place to go to. But yeah, I think that's huge. Is location and venue is huge for any video, especially to me. I feel like that's half of your storyline. Is the background of it. You have to have a good scenery. It has to be worth it, and it has to be working with what you're doing or what you're saying in the song. The video process, recording wise, easily one day, 3-4 hours, maybe half a day, in terms of including travel and stuff between sets. But one day, and then honestly, I was telling, I was saying about Quake, he worked so fast. Usually he gets finished recording at mid 3 a.m. He'll have something to me just sent over, or he'll FaceTime me and just be like, hey, check this out, and show me some cool clips that he has already going. So Quake, great work, works really fast. So if you're ever in the Bay Area and you need a guy to engineer, produce, whatever, record your videos, edit them, just go over to Quake Beats, man. That guy is my guy right there.
Yeah. Well, tell Quake I said he's a beast, man. He does a great job at everything he does from what I've seen and what I've heard. So commend him, and I commend you and your guys' just attention to detail on the visuals and the music and everything, because it's looking very good right now, for real.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I'll let him know for sure.
Yeah, man. So speaking of the music, I mentioned the Mixed Personalities album. I think you dropped it in May, I believe, at the beginning of the summer. And I know you talked about, your diversity and everything. So to me, that name right there in itself, you were trying to show your diversity. So can you kind of talk about how that album came together, what was really the concept behind it, and what kind of went into making the songs for that one?
So that album dropped the last weekend of May, the 31st or something like that. It was funny how it came together because it was accidental. Originally, this project was supposed to be a small EP, 4 songs, with my cousin Color Code, and our whole objective was I wanted to sample songs that I love or that have affected me in my life. I'm sorry, I hate repeating the same song, but My Everything. I don't know if anyone caught it or if anyone heard it, but we sampled Drake's Best I Ever Had. So if you listen to it back in the beginning, it has a muffled, very undertone sound of a sample, and it's Drake singing his hook for my Best I Ever Had. And then my hook for the song as well is I kind of sampled it and just kind of flipped some of the words and made it my own. And that was supposed to be the entire album. It was supposed to be, the concept was like a Tory Lanez Chicks tape. That was the concept of it.
Yeah.
So it was supposed to be highly sampled, a lot of bangers that you already know, and ones that I love and that affected my life. So that's how it started out. And then I realized that I just had so many beats stowed away, that I was just going through them one day, and ones that I really, really liked and forgot that I even had, I just pulled them up to the front and started writing to them and recording to them. And and the way that I write my music, again, like how you were saying, your friend who, he could be in the box all day and just have the same flow, same energy, same songs, and just pump them out. I really just listen to a beat, I catch a vibe, and however that beat makes me feel is how I'm going to write to it and record to it. So it depends. Like, if you catch me on a bad day, more than likely I'm going to write a sad song, or like, something a little more heartfelt. If you catch me on a good day when, everything's going well, like today, more than likely I'm going to write a turn-up song. So it just kind of all depends on when you catch me as well. But yeah, so the album came together slowly but surely. There was a song on there that I actually recorded when I recorded Havana, which was 2-3 years ago. The Everybody Knows song. So that was actually recorded 2 years ago, and written 2 years ago, and that was a Quake beat. He produced that one, and it was funny because for the last two projects, I have not released that song, although it's already supposed to have been out. And when I went to go back to it and revisit it, I was in the studio with Quake, and I was just like listening to it, and I just had this weird just like look on my face of like, man, like I don't want to change anything. And he was looking at me, he smiled, and he goes, honestly, your energy on here is great. He was like, you don't think you want to re-record it? And I was just like, I don't feel those same emotions anymore. So like if I were to re-record it, it wouldn't have the same feeling and the same grab to it. So I just kept that as it was. I didn't add any ad-libs or anything on it or any doubles, literally how it was recorded, and then I just left it raw like that. Put that on the album. And going back to the name Mixed Personalities, that was my whole concept. Was I wanted you to understand all the different kind of aspects to my character and my artistic view. Like, you have sad songs, you have sad days, you have turn-up songs, you have happy days. And the whole roller coaster of it, kind of falls with in the beginning, with the going on, I'm gonna have fun, I'm gonna do me, and then butterflies and anything, and my everything, where it's kind of like, okay, like I think I'm in love type of feel, more bubbly sounding songs, and then it goes to Everybody Knows, where it's like, oh shit, my heart was broken. So first he didn't care, now he's in love, then he had his heart broke, and then to finish out the album, it kind of went to the Quarantines remix, which again was another very popular song, Quarantines, that I did a year or two ago, actually last year during everything that was going on, the pandemic, and kind of softening up to like, okay, like that song is more of like, I just want to party with my friends. Then you go to Shot Caller, which is back to like me being back on my bullshit again. Sorry about that. Me being back on my bullshit again. And then it goes to the Havana remix, which is again a crowd favorite that I had to remix. Put a brand new verse on there. I had D. Cola hop on that one as well for the third verse. And then that's, just how I wanted to wrap up the album with that type of energy, and that kind of fun. So, yeah, that's kind of how I wanted it to be a roller coaster. I wanted it to, with me, the way I put everything, to listen to it in order. There are songs that people are going to gravitate to and they want to add those to playlists. By all means, go for it. But if you are listening to the album in its entirety, I would highly recommend listening front to back, and then it'll kind of tell more of a story about me as an artist and as a person. And then you can kind of, hopefully get to know me a little bit better.
Yeah, and I love that. Just the concept for like an album itself, I feel like that is something you can run with and it'll make sense, because a lot of times I feel like artists just try and do albums just to do them. They might not always have a purpose to them, and it's like the listener kind of gets a little bit fatigued and they're like, I don't really want to go through this whole thing. But I feel like when you build out a theme and that's how you approach an album, I feel like that's when they're most effective, is when there's like a real purpose to the project. And it feels like this album for you was that basically. So that's pretty awesome. So I know that you mentioned you have at least a single or something coming up soon. So what else can you reveal? Maybe before the end of the year, maybe top of next year that we can expect music wise. Uh, like I said, it could be an
Um,
album, could be a single. What do you think?
yeah. So like I was saying, I have two songs that are pretty much almost done right now. One of them is just in the mixing and mastering process right now, and that one is I featured on one of the homies' songs. The homie that I met actually out. Um, sorry, I know him by his real name, but I okay. Yeah, so his name is Sam. Shout out to Sam, but his artist name is Ahava, and um, we were up at 3, 4, 5 a.m. In LA. Just got back from a party in the hills, and we get back to the crib, and we are just like, okay, you know what? I kind of want to work on some music. Like, let's do it. So we hopped in the studio. Sam was playing a couple songs, and he goes, honestly, he goes, I really want you on this song. And I said, okay, I play it for me. And the whole point of the song was like it started out like it's 5 a.m. I've been up dancing with Molly. Me and all the homies in the party getting rowdy. And I heard the first two lines and I was like, oh yeah, like I'm on this. Like let's do this. um, so that song, his EP, actually that'll be a part of his EP. It should be releasing within the next month or two. Um, so that should be coming out, and he does great work, and his concepts are amazing as well. But that'll be on his EP. I don't know exactly what the final name is for that, but the name of the song should be called 5 a.m. I'm pretty sure that's what it's going to be called. That's what it is in my notes that are on my documents here. So look out for that. It'll be called 5 a.m. And then for me personally, I should be dropping a single. I have to go record it with Quake and finalize everything. But I do have a rough draft, a rough recording, and that should be releasing hopefully within the next month or so. And that song is going to be called Toxic. It's I'm trying not to spill too much.
Yeah, you can't give it all away now,
but,
you know?
Yeah, but that song is produced by a good friend, Lanai, that I actually met online within the past year or so again. And he wanted to actually be on the album Mixed Personalities, but unfortunately I just ran out of time. And I wasn't able to get to his beat. But thankfully, I guess, everything happens for a reason. It worked out perfect because the beat that he originally gave me, he ended up making better stuff after that. And he was just like, I got something better for you. He sent it right over. He said, I love your song, Havana. I made this beat and you're the first person I thought of. So I reached out to you and wanted to send it to you. And it worked out perfectly fine. That was the song I was just talking about where I met this artist, Persia. She'll be on that song, Toxic. And we just happened to be going to the same studio at the same time, just a mutual friend. And I was just actually, our whole session was just going to be me playing beats that I have in the vault. And I was just going to play through some beats, start a writing process, and then just, lay some lines down and record them. And I was about to skip to the next beat, and she goes, hold on, play that one back. And then she had a whole, call and response hook going, and she had a whole verse going, and I was like, yes, we're going to do this. You're on this song. Let's do it. Because at the time, I had a hook for it, but I felt like the hook was a little bit too pushy in terms of trying to be party-like. And then we kind of came up with this call and response thing for way later in the song for a beat break. And it sounded so good, I said, fuck it, like, let's clip that, move it to the front hook, and listen to it, and it sounded good. So we kept it. But yeah, like I said, for that song, we have a rough draft. We just have to re-record it, kind of get it mixed and mastered with Quake and finalize some sounds, and then probably soon we'll be shooting a music video for that one too.
Nice. Well, I'll be on the lookout for it, man. I'll be reposting it in my story and all that when it comes out. So.
Of course. Thank you, man. Yeah, I really appreciate it too. The love is real, man.
Yeah, no problem. Like I said, every time you drop, I'm like, I gotta look out for it for real, because it just keeps getting better and better. Like
Yeah.
the album, like I said, the album itself was just so incredible. So I'm eager to see what you do from here for sure. So I just got a couple
Thank you, man.
more.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, no problem. I just got a couple more questions for you here, and then we'll wrap up. So if you could go
Yeah.
back 10 years ago, maybe give yourself a piece of advice, or maybe not change anything at all, what do you think you would do?
Ooh. That's a tough question. That's a really tough question. Because I've had this talk with Color Code many, many, many times, like that we're just, hanging out, trying to go to bed, but can't go to bed. And we're just like, just kind of talking about stuff. That's my brother. Like, it's my cousin in reality, but we are close like brothers. She was actually just here over the weekend. Yeah, it's part of me would say, focus on myself and, good things happen to good people when they're doing good things. Part of me would want to tell myself that. But the other part of me also wouldn't change a thing. If I did change something back then, who knows that I was on and that happened to where I am today. So I'm very, very grateful. The heartbreaks, the love, because it honestly made me who I am today. But like you said, I would definitely tell myself if nothing else were to change, if it was just giving advice and things weren't changing, I would definitely tell myself to focus on me and my happiness. Spend more time with loved ones around me. And kind of really embrace what life has to offer. Because obviously, as a kid, you don't really know that stuff, and you don't, being a high school kid, you don't really care about anybody else or what's going on, and your main focus is, playing sports, or your main focus is trying to get at a girl, or, be the guy, whatever your focus was back then. But, it's, again, like I said, it's just everything that I've done in my life and that's happened to me has brought me to this point. I'm beyond grateful for all of it. I have a wonderful family. I thank my mom and dad all the time. They support me in everything that I do, and they just want me to be happy, which is the ultimate goal as a child, is to have your parents be proud of you. And, so I do a lot of this for them. My whole goal that I always tell people is I want to be able to retire my parents and send them on vacation whenever they want. You know what I mean? Like, that is the goal. Like, that I can literally just be like, hey, mom and dad, here's some plane tickets. You guys are going to Cayman Islands, or you guys are going to Hawaii, you guys are going to Spain. Like, here, you guys are going for 2 weeks. I already paid for your hotel, your flights. Here's some money to go spend while you guys are out there. Have a good time. That's my main goal in life, is to be able to do things like that. Of course, it would be an absolute blessing. But with me and music, that's my goal, is nonetheless. So I can care less about the folds. My goal is to serve my parents. They've taken care of me all my life, so it's always been a goal for me.
Nice, man. Love that. So if we could flip it then, let's say 10 years from now, where do you think you want to be in your career and your life in general?
10 years from now. So I'm going to break this up. The first 5 years, so 5 years from now, I will have wanted to have traveled to multiple countries, release a couple more albums, and go on little mini tours throughout California and the West Coast. If things reach out to New York, which weirdly enough, my album or my project before this, majority of my listens were in the New York area, which is kind of cool. But, just kind of do that stuff. Again, I don't need to be a superstar on, some G-Eazy level or anything like that. But, 5 years from now, that's what I want to be, and that's what I expect. And then 10 years from now, I want to, have a family I have kids on the way or kids that are here, and at that point in time, the music will turn into more so of a hobby. Is like, oh, he is a musician and he can make music, and when he wants to, he will. But my priority at that point would be, being a successful businessman, in terms of, investing into zone in which kind of have already begun doing that. For people who don't know me, I love fashion. I love clothes. I love shoes. I annoyingly enough wear sunglasses. This is the one time I'm not wearing sunglasses. I always wear sunglasses. If you see my Instagram, I'm always in sunglasses. It could be nighttime, it could be indoors, it could be outdoors. It doesn't really matter. I find it a piece of the outfit. Just as you would accessorize with your jewelry, just as you would accessorize with a watch. I love all of it. So in the future, I would love to, be teaming up with design companies or clothing companies and be a part of that process. I think a lot of this also falls on one, my older sister, who is very fashionable. She actually works for Prada, so she's in that kind of fashion designer, area of expertise, and I think that definitely helps with me and kicks in with me as um, musicians that I love to listen to and kind of keep up with was ASAP Rocky. And again, he's another very fashionable person. He's now dating Rihanna. He's very into that whole beauty aspect and clothing and everything. So that also is the, second part to me kind of being in love with this kind of stuff. I've always been this way too. When I was growing up, I loved, dress up days at school where we had to wear some, button up shirt and a tie and pants. And I love to color coordinate, make sure my shoes match, make sure my sunglasses match, all that kind of good stuff. But yeah, that's definitely what I would do in 10 years is more on the business side. Definitely fashion stuff, clothing brands, clothing lines, shoes. I would love to create my own sunglasses. That would be super dope. As well as obviously in a 10-year mark to be able to have such a name and such gravity and weight with my name that I can help people who are 10 years younger than me kind of find their way through music or through business or whatever they want to do. That could be with me, starting a after-school program in terms of, teaching kids how to make music, how to record themselves, how to mix and master, how to edit, how to make beats and produce. It could be on that aspect. It could be on the aspect of, they love clothing, they want to start designing clothes. I would love to just be able to help younger people that are lost and don't know what they're doing, and be able to kind of show them like, hey, you can go this route and kind of do this, or hey, I did that when I was younger and it didn't work out, but I think that you can do that, plus add this on there, and then you can be successful. I just want to be able to have the financials and have the weight to my name to where if I really truly believed in someone as someone truly believes in me, I can really help them out and kind of get them going or lead them in the right direction. It's always good, and it's always a goal of mine to pass things down. That's just how my family has always been, and my cousins and aunts and uncles and grandparents. It's always a good tradition to be able to pass down knowledge or information and be able to teach people or lead people in the right direction to be able to be taught properly. For sure. That's definitely a goal for the 10-year mark.
Yeah. Well, absolutely love that, man. And that's the best thing we could do right there is give back for sure. So great piece of advice right there. So speaking of giving advice or wisdom, do you have any final words of wisdom today for the listeners?
Yeah, man. Especially with everything that's been going on for the past year and how crazy our world is. And, I would tell people to really enjoy your life. Something that I always tell people is in a short way, I always just say, stay wavy. That's kind of like my whole thing, and the
Yeah, I was
merch
about
and
to say you got
everything.
the hoodie on right
Um,
now.
yeah, thank you, man. Thank you. We unfortunately we sold out, but we'll be having another season coming soon. I actually have to meet with the designers of this Rebel Status Co. Shout out to Adam, and we're gonna design a whole new line, do sweaters again, T-shirts. Um, Probably add a couple things in there as well. But stay wavy to me is, life is like the ocean. Waves come and go. You just have to catch your wave. And that could be a relationship. That could be just a chapter in your life. But all things come to an end. And when things do come to an end, it's okay. To be sad about it and to kind of reflect on it. But at the same time, it's also okay to move on and find another wave. And that's my whole concept with the Stay Wavy is just do what you want to do and what makes you happy. Even if you're doing it for a little while or if you're doing it for a long time, it doesn't matter. As soon as it ends or when it ends, if it ends, no problem. Ain't no problem. You'll just go ahead and catch another wave. That's what I would tell people nowadays. Like I said, just have fun, really enjoy life, man. Because with the pandemic that just happened, like that was something that we thought would never be a thing in our lifetime. And it's still going on right now. And I hope that everyone's doing okay out there and everyone's being safe and stuff. But just have fun, man. Live your life. Obviously, be respectful while you're doing it, but kind of take chances, take your risks. Go travel, go meet people. Go have fun. If you had an idea or you wanted to do something, don't think of the negative things of, it won't work out or this could go wrong or whatever. Just go and do it, man. Go and do it while you can, because time is the only thing we can't get back. And we're just constantly getting older. That's the only thing that's consistent in this life is you're going to get older every day. And you just never know what could happen. God forbid, knock on wood, but you never know when your last day will be or could be or will be. So go ahead and have fun, man. Live your life. Go travel. Take your vacations. Work hard. I always say, are you okay and would you be happy if you left the world today? Did you make it a better place than when you first came in? So, have fun. Do what you need to do, handle business, and everything will work out for itself.
Absolutely, man. Well, Nico, that's all I have for you today, man. Like I said, I appreciate you giving your time to be on the episode today. This was a really fun episode. I enjoyed it. And I'm sure we're going to link up soon. Like I said, I'll be coming out to Cali soon. So hopefully we can do this again, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, of course. And again, thank you for having me on this. I really appreciate it. Again, like I said, it's great that technology allows us to do things like this. Yep. And yeah, man, when you do come visit, please let me know. We'll definitely link up. We'll go grab some food, grab some drinks, have a good time, show you around a little bit of the Bay Area. And then, yeah, man, hopefully soon, I also got to talk to you after this, but we'll work on something soon for sure.
Thanks, guys, for listening today. That was episode number 64. We'll be back this time next week. I did want to apologize for some of the poor connection issues in that episode. I'm not sure if it was Zoom or if it was on my end. I'm not sure, but that usually doesn't happen, so I do apologize. I tried to edit it as best as possible, but I hope you guys did walk away with some great information out of that. I know that you can definitely hear most of the message in the episode as far as what Nico was trying to convey, but we will get that sorted out in future episodes, so I did want to just address that so, I didn't just leave you hanging there, but we will be back, like I said, same time next week. As always, hit the support button on your podcast streaming platform if you want to send any funds. And if you enjoyed this episode, feel free to leave us that 5-star rating in the show notes. So thank you very much. We'll see you next week.